Chelsea 2, West Ham 1. Chelsea come from behind, but most importantly, Enzo Maresca acts quickly. He makes subs quickly. How many times this season has Chelsea just looked a bit, and Enzo Maresca's just not made the change? He's been reluctant to make the change. And fans have given him a bit of stick for that lately. But Enzo Maresca's substitutions changed the game. We're going to talk about Neto and Marc. Is it Guiu or Marc Guiu? Let me know down below how you say that. How they changed the game. I'm going to talk about those two players in particular. But I will say this. First half from Chelsea was meh. Second half from Chelsea was a lot better. They're now fourth. They've taken advantage of all the teams around them dropping points. Can Chelsea get in the top four? Will they not? Will they not? They've been a bit... The way I describe Chelsea is they do enough to win the game in terms of they're creating the chances, but they don't convert the chances. Then they go and make a silly mistake, whether it's one of the centre-backs, whether it's Sanchez a lot of the time, that costs them the game. And I was thinking, not taking chance, Colwell mistake, Maresca changed it this time out, actually making sub, but it could have maybe been a repeat of Maresca doesn't change it too quick enough. Defender makes a mistake, you miss your chances. But I want to talk about Guiu, but let me know if I'm pronouncing that right. And I do want to talk about Neto in particular. But let's break down the game. I think Enzo Fernandez was probably the only player that probably would be happy with his first half performance. I felt that he wanted it more in terms of, I think it was just off the ball. He had that desire and intensity that I felt Chelsea lacked in the first half. I think Tosin had a good game. Colwell, I do rate Colwell, poor game for him. Sancho was just a little bit ineffective today. I felt that Chelsea's attack was a bit ineffective, and it just took Cole Palmer being Cole Palmer, saving Chelsea as he does. So let me talk about my general thoughts, and then I'm going to talk about Guiu and, of course, Neto, because I want to talk about Neto because he's a player I really rate that's not had the best time at Chelsea, but I want to talk about him. Anyway, Chelsea go fourth. They've finally taken advantage of everyone around them dropping points. I think this is the perfect weekend for Chelsea. That momentum could help them get the season back on track. Also, while West Ham haven't been good this season, they've looked a lot better under Potter, and I think it was never going to be an easy game. I know, was it you that battered West Ham 6-0, or was that Arsenal last season? But West Ham treat Chelsea like a cup final sometimes. They try and give everything in those games. It was almost a repeat of previous games where I think there's a few times this season where Chelsea dropped points, where Chelsea haven't necessarily been bad, but you've not taken your chances and you've gifted the opposition. And I thought it could have been one of those days today, but Cole Palmer pulls something out of the bag. Neto comes on, he brings that directness, that energy that was needed. And I'll say with Cole Palmer, you know, he wasn't a 10 out of 10 today, but he just makes everything so easy. Game is a bit meh, stale. Cole Palmer can make something happen. And with Cole Palmer, even if he doesn't have his best game in the world, you know you've got to keep him on that pitch for 90 minutes because he gets the ball, he can make something happen. He's that kind of player that can produce a moment. He can win a game. I feel like every time he touches the ball, makes a pass, makes a little run with the ball, he makes it look so easy. He's such a talented player. The things I would do for Cole Palmer at Manchester United, oh my, he would be a lovely footballer for us. We just need anyone in attack. We've sold half our attack and we've literally got Garnacho, Xerxes, Højlund and Ahmad to get us through the rest of the season. I'm not happy as a Manchester United fan. But anyway, Chelsea wingers lack the goal-scoring impact. That's the problem. Sancho is a good player. He's a bit hit and miss, but you know he's a good player. He can pass the ball. He's a creative player. He's good in the pockets. He's got that touch. He's got that control. But Sancho doesn't like to shoot. He likes to pass. He can be a bit conservative, and that's what frustrated me as a Man United player. He can be a bit conservative. He doesn't have that blistering pace. He's not that direct. Madueke is more direct, but then a bit wasteful in his decision-making lags. And that's when Neto came on today. He hasn't had his best spell at Chelsea. I still think he's much better on the right, but he brought that intensity and he brought that directness, someone that was going to come on. I think this is why Chelsea were linked to Garnacho, because, you know, Garnacho's been hit and miss this season, but Garnacho has a drive. He can go from outside to in. He can take people on. He's probably most similar to Madueke in terms of the Chelsea players. Can be inconsistent, can be wasteful with shots, can be a little bit selfish at times. When he would drive at people, look to make things happen, and that's what Neto did today. And I really like Neto. I really wanted Man United. I think we've not seen the best of Chelsea. I'm going to speak about him in more detail in a second, but he brought that directness and intensity because I felt that Chelsea were very and it just went up with Guiu and Neto coming on. If I was going to be totally honest, I don't think it was an amazing win for Chelsea. The way I would describe this win for Chelsea was professional, done the job, turned it around. Manager done well, players done well, solid. It wasn't like outstanding, amazing football where Chelsea were back to their best. They played better football this season, but it was like, yeah, Maresca managed the game well, the subs did well, Chelsea did enough to win the game, fair play. That was sort of my analysis on the game. But yeah, you have to give credit to Maresca. He's not been making early subs, and I thought that the Neto sub was good, the Guiu sub was good, and even on Cuckoo, who I was actually hoping United were going to get on loan last minute because I think he really suits Amarin's system. I thought his movement was really good. The areas he was getting in, sort of opening up space, and I think that was big. But I think Guiu, and people might not think he did a lot this game, but I thought just bringing the box presence was big. Obviously, he's a hardworking player, one of the best pressing players. But Jackson, not been at his best lately, but Jackson's all-round play is normally quite good. He can drop deep, he can receive the ball, he can link play, he can dribble, gets a lot of the ball, but in the box, that's what Jackson lacks. Now, with Guiu and with Enzo Maresca, he wants a box striker. There's a reason you were linked to Ostenham, there was a reason you were linked to Samu, and there was a reason you were linked to John Duran. Players with power, players with box presence, and I think that's something that Jackson lacks. Enzo Maresca wants crosses in, he wants someone that's good in the air, he wants someone that's going to pin the centre-backs, and Guiu is the profile to do that. Whether he's ready is a different question, but he's looked impressive the last few cameos in the Conference League as well. He's got that box presence. It's a shame he's come off injured, but he has that eagerness and that hunger, and I felt that was what Chelsea needed today, and he made a big impact. Obviously, as I said earlier, Nkunku's movement was good. I thought Enzo did well. I thought Tosin did well. I thought the first half was pretty poor, other than Enzo, to be honest. But I thought it was a good win. It was a scrappy win, but it was an aggressive win in the end. And it was, again, I think Chelsea fans should be happy with that because you're in fourth. You've got the 3 points. You've taken advantage if on a round you're dropping points, which is the most important thing. But also, you won the game, you got the momentum, the subs where Enzo Maresca made the changes that you were hoping to make. And I think that win will do Chelsea a lot of good because I do think there's still a little bit of a confidence team, like just mentally there as well. When they start winning, they do quite well, but then when they drop points or so, they can sometimes drop off a bit as well. So let's talk more detail about Guiu because I thought he was really good when he came on, and he is a number 9 while Jackson is a false 9. And what we know is what Maresca wants is an actual 9. That's who you were linked to in the summer. That's probably who you'll be linked to next summer, as well as goalkeeper and probably a centre-back. And probably even another midfielder because Casado Enzo needs support. Lavia can't stay fit. But he can hold off defenders, bring box presence, and he wants to be there in the box to get on the end of things, which is going to allow people to cross it in and make Chelsea a bit more dangerous. In terms of positional awareness for crossing, it's better than Jackson. In terms of box move, it's better than Jackson, and his pressing is a lot more instinctive than Jackson, and that's the difference as well. Very hard working. I remember watching in the Conference League, he does not stop running. I remember he hit his head in the post once because he was so determined to score the goal. His work rate, his desire is everything you want in a young striker. He's really impressed me in cameos. He's one for the future. I also think having fresh legs helped Chelsea. They just looked a bit leggy, Chelsea, and I think the fresh legs coming on helped them. But yeah, what I noticed is he knows how to attack across. He knows where to be in the box. He's happy with 3 centre-backs around him. His movement was good. He brought the intensity off the bench. His hold-up was very good. In terms of the physical side, I think he did a good job, not just ground coverage, but also holding off players. I thought he made some decent runs between the line, but I thought his box presence, it did a lot for Chelsea today. And I think I think he did more than he'll get credit for because a lot of it was just off the ball in positional sense. But I thought it was a really good cameo from him. And hopefully he's not injured for his sake because I think there's a player there that could be useful. And I'm also going to talk about Neto. I saw Felix Johnson tweet this. Not going to pretend it's been perfect so far, but let's have some respect for Pedro Neto. So lively on the right, took on his man, hugely dangerous crosses to the back post and followed up into the box. He just needs time to adjust the system, but the quality is unquestionable. And I agree. Pedro Neto was one of my favourite players to watch in the last few years. I know he's had injury troubles, but it's when he's on the right-hand side, he's running into space, he's driving up the pitch, and he puts those low crosses in, or he puts those crosses in. Pedro Neto's minutes per assist ratio last minute was like right at the top of the Premier League. He's a creative player. He plays his best stuff on the right. He puts those crosses in. He's not a big shooter, a big goal scorer. Today he scored, but he's a bit of a creator. Now, what Pedro Neto is someone that likes to take on his man, someone that can go inside to out. And there's a player in Pedro Neto. I think there's a lot more to see it with Pedro Neto in a Chelsea shirt. I think if you're a Chelsea fan writing him off, I wouldn't. I've watched him at Wolves a lot. Very good at running into space, can break down low block, good at dribbling. He's one of my favourite players. When Chelsea signed him, I was jealous. I said that would be a top signing for United. That would be a top signing for Spurs. He was one of those players that I really wanted to see at Manchester United, which I'm kind of relieved we didn't sign him now because I don't know if he suits Amarin's system. At least it would have been a great fit for Amarin's system. Sancho would have been a great fit for Amarin's system, and we're giving him to you. But he's someone that I like. He can progress the ball, one of the best ball progressors in the league. He can carry the ball forward. He can put in a cross. I think he's an unselfish player. His decision making is good, but it's the directness, the intensity, the press. Maybe that's why he injures himself, because he plays at such a high intensity. He presses so much, but I thought he was good. And then I want to give a credit to Enzo Fernandez today. I thought he wanted it the most. He registered more successful ball recovery 7 and more successful interceptions 2 than any other player for Chelsea versus West Ham United. It wasn't what he did on the ball today, but it's what he did off the ball. And West Ham is always going to be a tough game physically off the ball. They're going to challenge you. They're a physical team. And I think he put in the leadership. He stepped up. I thought he covered a lot of ground. I thought he was everywhere working his socks off tonight. And I thought he brought that intensity off the ball that I think Chelsea needed. Anyway, that's my thoughts on Chelsea 2-1 West Ham. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.